What's up, everybody? This is the 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Huge thanks to Toyota for bringing me out to San Diego here and providing me with the opportunity to review the TRD Pro version of the Tacoma for you guys today. And so about the TRD Pro, well, we've already seen it. They debuted it about a year ago, but now we're finally getting a chance to drive it, see what it's like off-road, see what this iForceMAX powertrain is like as well. This is our first time experiencing that. And not only am I going to be driving the TRD Pro version here, but I'm also going to be on the Trailhunter version as well. Going to be taking that on a more challenging, low-speed technical trail, and I'll give my impressions on that package then. But as far as this TRD Pro version, it looks so cool, so much more mean and menacing here. You have extra ground clearance here, 11.5 inches of ground clearance total in the TRD Pro versions, and just the flared fenders. I love the hood vent you have there added on, and you know, just these big 33-inch tires. These rough terrain tires look so cool on these very cool TRD wheels. You also have that 20-inch LED light bar in the grille there. You also have the Rigid Industries LED fog lamps down there, which can change from white to yellow as well, which is cool. And it just looks so awesome too with the two-tone thing where you have the black A-pillar and the black roof, black mirror caps here. Again, the black fender flares. And then coming out towards the back there, you can see, again, the steel rear bumper you have by ARB here with the recovery points. And of course, the other goodies like the 2.5-inch Fox internal bypass shocks with quick switch 3 adjustable compression technology. There's the rear remote reservoirs on those as well. And also all the other off-roading tech you get, like the stabilizer bar disconnect. Also, you get a TRD intake and exhaust here on these as well. And all these things add up to give you a 35.7 degree approach angle, a 25.3 degree departure angle, a 27.4 degree breakover angle. And then again, like I said, 11.5 inches of ground clearance, which is very impressive. And so all combined, it all adds up to giving you a very menacing, mean package. It's a truck that doesn't look like it's messing around. I mean, it is very intimidating and very cool looking, and I think they did a great job here on these TRD Pros. Inside, the TRD Pro and Trailhunter both have some unique accents, but otherwise it's the same as any other Tacoma, so I will link my regular Tacoma review at the end of this video if you'd like to hear all the details about the new Tacoma interior. But overall, it's an enormous upgrade from the last generation, especially in the tech department. Now, as far as driving impressions go, we were able to only drive the TRD Pro and Trailhunter off-road, but they did have some limited trims with the iForceMAX powertrain, so stay tuned for my on-road driving impressions of that in a minute. Off-road though, we took the TRD Pro on the higher speed course, which was actually just a motocross track, complete with a jump and bank turns, and man, the TRD Pro was a blast here. All iForceMAX Tacomas come with full-time four-wheel drive as standard with center and rear locking diffs, but they're still able to go into rear-wheel drive, of course, as well, and that was very fun to put it in that rear-wheel drive mode and rotate it around that dirt. They all do a multi-link coil rear suspension and a double wishbone front. They all felt very composed off-road. I barely even felt the landing for the jump here in the TRD Pro. One thing that I was excited to try was the isodynamic performance seats, and thankfully they don't make themselves known in any obvious way, at least in my experience, and the extra stability and smoothness they provide is really subtle, so I see no downsides to them at all so far, but I'll be curious to see how they feel on road when I hopefully get one of these for a week later this year. The meaty power band and the slight electric boost meant that I always had power when I wanted it and needed it, and with all the drive modes, you're able to custom tailor the feel to be exactly what you want it to be with more or less assistance. And with the TRD skid plates, I was able to drive through everything worry-free, of course. And moving on to the low-speed technical course I was on in the Trailhunter, it too was very impressive. My favorite thing was definitely the high mount air intake that does cost you 3 horsepower, but hearing the loud intake sounds right outside the window was endlessly entertaining, especially if you're someone who enjoys the whooshing of an aftermarket intake. It's that same kind of fun and just a really fun touch I honestly wasn't expecting. The Trailhunter has some of the same things as the TRD Pro, but has a few key differences, like the shocks are 2.5-inch Old Man Emu shocks instead with unique end zone control technology. They also have steel skid plates, rock rails, an exhaust tip finisher, and a sport bar, plus the air compressor in the bed, so you don't get like the TRD intake or the TRD exhaust. You know, it's a little bit different, but overall still, again, a lot of the same stuff from TRD Pro. It also has the stabilizer bar disconnect and the multi-terrain monitor cameras, which both Both came in handy on this tighter low-speed course for sure. I also tried the crawl control, which they say has been made quieter compared to the last generation. And while it was nice if you're not into worrying about managing the gas pedal, personally I still prefer doing the gas myself and having that manual control. And but nice to have that. And one last thing I'll mention is that while these iForceMAX powered Tacomas are all over 5,000 pounds, and these loaded versions can even crack 5,400 pounds, these never really felt too heavy on either trail in my opinion. And so I'd definitely say test drive one of these before you make a judgment as far as the curb weight in these, since I know they have gone up a good bit. But one other thing to note about these iForceMAX versions of the Tacoma is that they do get a slight downgrade in the tow rating compared to the lower Tacomas, surprisingly, with all of these doing 6,000 pounds of tow rating versus the 6,400 to 6,500 that other Tacomas are capable of. Thankfully, payload remains essentially unchanged, ranging from 1,420 pounds to 1,710 pounds. All right, so now I'm in the Limited, which also has this iForceMAX, and I'm going to turn down onto this back road and see how it accelerates. Here we go. I'm in Sport Plus mode. It's a good amount of punch. It really feels strong, and we're climbing kind of uphill here, and we're up in the canyon mountains here, and it still pulls really strong, feels really good. So this 2.4 liter iForceMAX turbo engine does 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque here, and no 0 to 60 time was given, but it seems pretty punchy. I would assume that it's somewhere in the 6 to 7 second range is my guess. It feels really good though, and it's awesome that it's coming from an electrified source as well, which helps you have better fuel economy, with these doing 22 mpg in the city, 24 on the highway, and 23 combined. That may vary a little bit just depending on which trim you're getting with the iForceMAX here. I'm not sure if the knobbier tire ones do worse, but this still feels really strong. I mean, to me, it's been a couple of months since I was in the Tacoma with the regular iForce engine, which also feels so strong, but I'm not sure if this feels wildly faster to me personally, even though the torque figures are, so much higher on this one. But it's a good amount of punch, and I'm sure whenever you're around town doing city driving, which we're out in the middle of nowhere here in the canyon, so not going to have too many opportunities here, but I mean, I'm sure that efficiency is going to really be nice to have. And it's the fact that you get that much power and you still get fuel economy in the 20s when, all the other competitors to this, that especially the rugged ones that are competing against the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter, they're all going to get in the mid teens for their fuel economy with their non-hybrid versions of getting high horsepower numbers. And so it's really a cool combo, and you would expect Toyota to be the first one to do a hybridized high performance truck like this, but it's really cool that they have done this, and it feels really good. The Limited, I already experienced the Limited and the regular Tacoma. You can go watch my regular Tacoma review for all my thoughts on this, but with the adaptive suspension you have here in these Limiteds, allows you to have a little bit of a stiffer ride, a little bit of a softer ride. It doesn't, again, make wild changes or anything, but it's certainly nice to have. We're in the Sport Plus mode still here, and on these windier canyon roads, it's certainly a nice thing to have. And the Limiteds continue to just be really nice and luxurious, and you're someone who's looking for that kind of an experience out of a Tacoma, the Limited is definitely the way to go, and this is really the ultimate version here with this engine. And if you would like to upgrade to this engine, not only is it available here in the Limited as it upgraded, but it's also available in the TRD Off-Road and the TRD Sport trims as an option. It's $3,700 extra for these, so that is something worth noting. You also have a big weight gain whenever you go up to this as well, with these being between 545 pounds to 690 pounds heavier than a non-hybrid Max version of the Tacoma. So it's a big jump up in weight, so just be aware of that too if you're going for this motor. So I mean, the extra upgrade there as far as the engine isn't a small chunk of change either. $3,700 is significant, but I mean, it's a significant jump in power as well, and a nice little bit of extra efficiency there too. But again, the regular iForce motor is so strong as well that I don't really feel like there's going to be much regret going with that one, but it's certainly nice to have the extra power here in this. In those two trims where this is not an optional motor but it's mandatory, in the TRD Pro and in the Trailhunter, those don't come cheap either. With those before destination being about $63,000 to $64,000. And so at that price point, again, destination's over $1,000 too. So you're talking for TRD Pro, 65 grand to start. And I mean, they come pretty well fully loaded up, but I'm sure there's some options there too you can still get, and accessories and all that. I mean, it's expensive. And that's really, the one thing that is a little tough to justify is, the price tag. It is, you're paying a premium for the hybridization because the other competitors do have similar amounts of power and yet come in at a lower price point, like the Ranger Raptor. You can get, now you can probably get a more stripped down version of that versus, again, these being pretty fully loaded. But, those start at $57,000 and have actually more horsepower. It's over 400 horsepower in those. They do have less torque. This is going to be the torque king in this whole, comparison group. But, outside of that torque, trump card there. Otherwise, the horsepower is higher in the Ranger Raptor. And while I've not driven the Ranger Raptor, it seems like it's very impressive on paper, and just another one worth considering, again, at a significant discount over that TRD Pro and the Trailhunters there. And, also you have to keep in mind there's also the Chevy Colorado ZR2 and also the GMC Canyon AT4X, which also have very trick suspensions, also have very impressive off-road capabilities. I was in the Canyon AT4X last year, was very impressed with that on the trails as well. And those do also come in lower, especially in the Chevy version there. And again, less equipment most likely and all that. And also less power too. So totally, something that's to be aware of is it's not going to be as fast in a straight line. But if you are just looking for something that is still quick, I mean, those still have a good amount of torque and horsepower, but you don't need the most, those also are going to come in at a lower price tag than these. So, the Tacoma here is really going to be the premium one. Now, it's also worth noting, of course, Tacoma has its famous reliability. It also has its famous resale values that are very, very good. And so maybe, in the end there, you pay the premium for the Toyota, but, you don't lose as much as maybe you do on the others. So it might come out being beneficial, even if you do pay a little bit more up front there. And then you get a cooler truck potentially as well. You get the extra torque and all that of this and the hybrid efficiency. And I mean, that's another thing worth noting is with all those getting, 15 to 17 mpg or whatever, you'll save some money on gas here if you're getting in the 20s in this after a while as well. So another thing to consider and another point here for the Tacoma. So there's certain things there. It's going to come down to your personal preferences, what you want exactly, and what you can live without, as far as which one will shake out as the best pick for you. But I do have to say that, I really like the Tacoma. I really enjoyed spending a week with one already. I enjoyed, taking these off-road today, and the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter. And overall, it's a very fantastic truck. And if you're someone who, isn't concerned about, the price tag being a little bit higher, absolutely go for the Tacomas. I think they're fantastic. I still think they have the best tech in here, coolest interior. Just, they have a lot going for them. And I mean, Toyota knows what they're doing, right? It's, pretty much the best seller in the segment. It's the one that everyone wants. It's the one that, again, is super hot on the used market and all that. So I'm sure that even at these slightly higher prices, they will have no problem selling lots and lots of these things. And for anyone who's curious about these, they should be coming later this spring for these iForceMAX versions of the Tacoma, by the way. And so, overall, really enjoyed my time here in these, and I'm looking forward to testing it out more here in city scenarios where you can actually utilize that hybrid system a little bit more and all of that. But so stay tuned, subscribe to get more coverage on that down the road once I get one of those for a week. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts here on the TRD Pro, the Trailhunter, and these other iForceMAX versions in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.